Coming up next on NewsDepth, the first presidential debate has taken place right here in Ohio. And this guy found a spicy new job after losing his due to the pandemic. Get ready to party, politically that is, in this week's Politics on Point. Plus, why are these brothers so into tomatoes? We'll tell you. NewsDepth is now. Trump test positive. Hello everybody, I'm Rick Jackson. Thanks for joining us. President Donald Trump and his wife, First Lady Melania Trump, have both tested positive for the coronavirus, along with a host of other people who work around the White House. The announcement came October 2nd. President Trump was then flown to Walter Reed Medical Center to receive treatment for the illness. At 74 years old, he's at a higher risk for having a severe case of the illness due to his age, gender, and other health conditions. His doctors told reporters over the weekend that Trump was being given several different medicines to treat the coronavirus. Some of the treatments, including extra oxygen, are reserved for people with severe cases, yet Trump's doctors say he's doing well. This has led to uncertainty around how the president's actually doing in his battle with COVID-19. Things can change quickly with coronavirus. We have the latest for you as of our filming right now, which is Monday afternoon. Daryl Forges reports from outside Walter Reed.
President Donald Trump's doctor painting a rosy picture Sunday.
The fact of the matter is that he's doing really well.
An image the administration sought to underscore with photos of the president at work in his offices at the Walter Reed National Military Medical Center.
I'm about to make a little surprise visit.
And in person, as the president took a surprise motorcade to wave at supporters gathered outside the hospital.
And he wanted to, as a sign of gratitude, show folks that he's still fighting for them.
The president says he's learned a lot about the virus that has killed nearly 210,000 Americans.
It's been a very interesting journey. I learned a lot about COVID. I learned it by really going to school. This is the real school. This isn't the let's read the book school. And I get it.
But some medical experts are expressing concern over whether the president is taking his condition seriously.
The reason why someone with COVID-19, severe COVID-19, causing hypoxia on multiple IV drugs, should ever be leaving the hospital would be in an ambulance to be transferred to a higher level of care.
Critics are blasting the administration for a lack of transparency over the president's illness and asking if he put others at risk.
Did he knowingly go off to meet with supporters, knowing that he might be infectious because he'd been in contact with others who had been? I think there are so many unanswered questions.
Yet despite those unanswered questions and mixed messages from the medical briefings, the president's physicians say he could be discharged as early as today.
Thanks, Daryl. Now, by the time you're watching this, Trump's condition has likely changed, so we're leaving it to you and your teachers to do a little research to find out the president's current situation. Here's a quick reporting tip, by the way. Make sure you visit trusted websites to get your news. Of course, you can visit where we work, ideastream.org, for reporting, and you can also go right to the source for updates on the president's health. You can visit the White House's official press page or the White House's YouTube page, where Trump's doctors have been making announcements on his health. The First Lady has thus far remained in the White House to recover. We certainly wish them both speedy recoveries. It's unclear now how all of this will end up impacting the re-election campaign. Just 2 days before he tested positive for COVID, Trump was right here in our state, Ohio, site of the first debate against Democratic presidential nominee, former Vice President Joe Biden. A debate is a formal discussion where opposing arguments are made. Now, this debate was anything but formal, though. It was actually quite chaotic, with both men calling each other names and interrupting one another like playground bullies. Well, our Gabriel Kramer has the story from just down the street from us at the Cleveland Clinic in Case Western Reserve University's health campus. Gabriel?
President Donald Trump and former Vice President Joe Biden went head-to-head for the first time at the Cleveland Clinic Hospital last week. Plenty of security measures were set up for blocks and blocks outside of the debate arena. Presidential debates are put together by the Commission on Presidential Debates. This special group worked with the Cleveland Clinic and Case Western Reserve University in Cleveland to host the debate. Along with the security, these partners had to consider the COVID-19 pandemic when putting this debate together. The candidates kept a social distance, and the audience was much smaller than debates in years past. Peter Poulos works for Case Western Reserve University. Despite COVID-19 making things a bit different,
in the most important way, it's not different because it's an opportunity to hear, the two candidates talk about the main issues. So that's the most important way that it's the same.
Just hours before the debate started, several hundred protesters marched not far from the hospital to share messages of racial injustice.
Hands up! Don't shoot! Hands up! Don't shoot! Black lives matter! Black lives matter! Black lives matter!
I was out here at 8 o'clock this morning riding down here trying to see everything, scope things out. It's crazy to see what's happening here in Cleveland. Definitely, I've been here my entire life, and I've seen so many different things that happen here. It's great.
Inside the debate, Biden and Trump tussled over several topics, including the COVID-19 pandemic, racism in America, the economy, and climate change. But the debate was filled with interruptions and insults.
The question is, radical left.
Will you shut up, man?
Listen, who is on your list, Joe?
This
Who's
is
on your
so
list?
right.
Gentlemen, I think
this
we've
is
ended
so
this.
He's going to pack the court.
We have
not going to give a list.
We have ended this segment. We're going to move on to the second segment.
That was really a productive segment, wasn't it?
Trump and Biden are scheduled to debate 2 more times before Election Day.
Thanks, Gabriel. Depending on the president's health, there are a few more debates penciled in before Election Day, so keep those tips on watching debates in mind if you tune in. With the countdown to Election Day, we've got a series of Politics on Point reports for you to prep for the big day. By now, maybe you're wondering what exactly is the difference between the Democrats and the Republicans, Biden's party and Trump's party? Well, never fear, our Nick Costell has the answer. Take a look.
It's time to party. Oh, it's a political party. What, you mean it's not that kind of party? Actually, a political party is a group of people that share many of the same beliefs about how the government should work. Political parties are the main way we elect people in the United States. Usually we pick between the 2 major parties, the Democrats and the Republicans. The Democrats are associated with the color blue, and the donkey, which has been their symbol since President Andrew Jackson's political campaign in 1828. Political rivals said Jackson, a Democrat, was stubborn as a donkey, and Jackson latched onto it. So did political cartoonist Thomas Nast, who made the symbol famous. Since then, the donkey has forever been associated with the Democratic Party. Nast also had a hand in the other famous symbol, the Republican elephant. In one of his cartoons, he drew a scene at the zoo, and the Republicans were depicted as an elephant. And that's all it took. Republicans embraced the caricature, remarking that the elephant is powerful, strong, and dignified. Republicans are also associated with the color red, and sometimes the party is referred to as the GOP. That stands for Grand Old Party. But these parties are at odds, not because of their symbols, but because of their beliefs. Most differences between the parties come down to an overall disagreement about the role the government should play in our lives. Although not all Republicans agree with each other on every issue, generally Republicans tend to believe a smaller, limited government is best. They usually believe in personal responsibility, low taxes, and a strong military. Republicans are sometimes called conservatives. One famous Republican is Ronald Reagan, who is known for cutting taxes for every American in 1981.
I think the people of this country today want more than anything for government to get off their backs and out of their pockets.
On the other side, we have the Democrats. They are the oldest party in the United States, and they believe that the government should take a more active role in people's lives, especially those in need. The Democratic Party typically believes in equal opportunity, protecting the environment, and health care for everyone. Democrats are sometimes called liberals or progressives. One example of a Democrat is Franklin D. Roosevelt, who started a bunch of government programs to create jobs during the Great Depression.
Let me assert my firm belief that the only thing we have to fear is fear itself.
We've seen the 2 sides trade barbs and debate over the past few months, and now, finally, it's all about to come to an end, at least until the next election.
Thank you, Nick. Hey, where can I get one of those party hats? Okay, enough of me talking. Let's hear from you. For last week's poll, we asked if you were able to vote in the 2020 election, how would you cast your ballot? We got a bit of a split this week. 44% of you said you would vote by mail. Lots of you sent some mail our way last week in response to the write-in question, of course. Let's see why you said it's so important to have those different ways to vote by opening up our inbox. Sophie from St. Angela Merici and Fairview Park wrote, I think it's important to have many ways to vote because everybody's voice should be heard and we should have fair and equal representation. It's also important to make it accessible to everyone, everywhere. Older people and people with disabilities and sick people may need a different way to be able to vote. It's very important that everybody vote so that everyone can be heard. Well said, Sophie. Anthony from Willowick Middle in Willowick wrote, it is important to have multiple ways to vote because if you are sick during this pandemic, you might get someone else sick and nobody wants that. Also, if you can vote online for people without a way to transport themselves, like a car, then it would be easier than walking. Anthony, I don't think we've got online voting just yet, but maybe one day. Well, here's one from Max at Meadowlawn Intermediate in Sandusky. It's important to have many ways to vote because some people are still very cautious about COVID-19, so some people would like to mail it instead so they don't have the risk. Jennifer from Firelands Elementary in Oberlin wrote, I think it's important because different people who might want to stay at home and vote can, or people who want to vote in person, then they can, and people who need to vote early can. Like if they're going to go visit family in a different state, they should be able to. And finally, Shemaiah from William Foster Elementary in Garfield Heights. It is important to have multiple ways to vote because some people don't want to have to touch things that other people have touched. And some people have children, and they want to keep them safe for the pandemic. Like my mom, she signed up me and my younger sibling and my nephew for online school. Wow, great supporting evidence, everyone. Time now for an update from a story earlier in the season. Remember when we told you about the death of Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsberg? Her passing left a vacancy on the court. Vacancy means an empty space, or in this case, an open job. President Trump says he knows who he wants to fill it, Judge Amy Coney Barrett. Barrett is a judge on the U.S. Court of Appeals for the 7th Circuit in Chicago. Trump introduced her to the public at a White House ceremony. Republicans have praised her conservative views, while Democrats fear if she's appointed to the Supreme Court, she may help undo many laws that they support. Reporter Camilla Bernal is at the White House with this report. Camilla?
I stand before you today to fulfill one of my highest and most important duties.
President Donald Trump announcing who he hopes will be the next Supreme Court justice.
She is a woman of unparalleled achievement, towering intellect, sterling credentials, and unyielding loyalty to the Constitution.
His pick, Amy Coney Barrett, a 48-year-old appellate judge and Notre Dame law professor. She's a conservative mother of 7 and a former law clerk to the late Justice Antonin Scalia. If confirmed, Barrett would be just the 5th woman to sit on the Supreme Court.
If the Senate does me the honor of confirming me, I pledge to discharge the responsibilities of this job to the very best of my ability.
The nomination comes amid strong backlash from Democrats who believe Republicans should wait and allow the winner of the election to fill the vacancy. But Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell is pushing forward and believes he has enough votes to confirm the nominee.
We have an obligation under the Constitution, should we choose to take advantage of it, with a president of the same party as the Senate, to advance the nomination.
Democrats are vowing to try to slow down the process, but their options may be limited.
And there is a schedule for these confirmation hearings that is already circulating among senators. That schedule has these hearings beginning on October 12th and then happening over 4 days. That gives them enough time to have a vote before the end of October.
Thanks, Camilla. This will be Trump's 3rd appointment to the Supreme Court. All right, let's switch topics to jobs. As the pandemic continues, many businesses have shut down, causing plenty of folks to be laid off work. In California, the Disneyland amusement park has been closed for 7 months. Now a group of lawmakers there are urging the governor to allow the park to reopen. For a while, Disneyland's employees were furloughed. Furlough means to take a leave of absence without being paid. So the employers were not able to go to work. However, their jobs were still being held for them when the park does reopen. But a recent announcement let the employees know that the furlough was over and their jobs were gone. Disneyland's closure has meant the loss of work for not only people at the park, but also for people who work at businesses that rely on that influx of tourists in the area. Michelle Gile has the story.
Thousands of furloughed Disney Parks employees in Anaheim found out they're now being laid off. The theme park closure is dragging into its 7th month and is affecting hundreds of other businesses. The Anaheim resort along the Harbor Boulevard corridor is a ghost town. Barricades block hotel entrances. Paper covers the windows at shops across the street from Disneyland's entrance.
So about half of our hotels around the theme parks are closed. They can actually be open under California guidelines, but they're not because it is not economically viable for them to be open without the visitors that the theme parks and our convention center bring to our city.
The chairman of Disney Parks said because of the prolonged impact of COVID-19, quote, exacerbated in California by the state's unwillingness to lift restrictions that would allow Disneyland to reopen, we have made the very difficult decision to begin the process of reducing our workforce. Disney employees in Florida are also being laid off. California legislators, including some right here in Anaheim, have sent a letter to the governor asking for the immediate consideration of the reopening of theme parks here in California, saying that the data points to responsible reopening. State Health Director Dr. Mark Galley said today that a reopening plan is, quote, very close to being released.
Thank you, Michelle. For this week's poll, we want you to take a look around your hometown. Are businesses in your community closing due to the pandemic? Head to our online poll to choose either yes, lots of businesses, yes, but not too many, or nope. Losing a job can be really difficult, but one man in Colorado is using the opportunity to turn his hobby into a career. Reporter Adi Wahardo explains.
I love to cook for people that I care about.
Toss in extra time and love for kimchi.
So this is my mom's recipe.
A Korean staple.
Think of sauerkraut, but give it a lot more spice.
Virgil Dickerson makes it from scratch.
We are doing this in my home kitchen.
The recipe is classic with a hint of new, making it a hit with family and friends.
The reaction was instantly crazy, and people started tagging me in dishes they were making with my kimchi.
He gave out 500 jars with mom's stamp of approval.
She said that this was really good kimchi and maybe even better than her own kimchi.
And the pressure mounted.
There's like, when are you going to start a business?
On Dickerson's 45th birthday, he launched Cream Kimchi.
Cream stands for Kimchi Rules Everything Around Me, which is a nod to the Wu-Tang song.
A business born in a time of need.
During the pandemic, I was laid off, furloughed, and lost all my clients. So I went from 3 jobs to none, and now I have 1 job.
Kimchi now pays the bills. You can get it at the Penn Street Market or online.
From the very get-go, I sold a ton of jars, and it hasn't slowed down.
His advice? Your current situation may be the perfect recipe for a career change.
We can't change everything right now, but if you can share what you love with your community, you can make an impact with the people around you.
Thanks, Adi. Dickerson says he would like to advance to a commercial kitchen and eventually expand his business. Now, he's got us inspired for this week's write-in question. We want you to tell us about one of your hobbies and how you could turn it into a career. You can find the inbox form beneath this episode and on the NewsDepth homepage. Now, we're betting that a few of you are going to say you could probably become YouTube stars with your hobby. So this next story is for you. It's about a pair of brothers. They've made it big on the internet with their own show about tomatoes, or tomatoes if you're British. Lauren Maxwell has the story from Alaska.
Mohawk chicken is sassy and she likes to run from people.
Benjamin and Thomas Boughton's backyard.
She'll like to ride on people's shoulders. She'll just sit up there like a happy little star.
Is looking more and more like a farm. In addition to a bountiful garden,
we have kale. We have lettuce and strawberries.
There's also this, a greenhouse packed with tomato plants.
King of Siberias, why they're called that is because they're the biggest tomato. They're like this big.
11-year-old Benjamin, also known as the gentleman farmer, and his sidekick, 8-year-old Thomas, know a lot about tomatoes. They not only grow and sell them, they talk about them every week in Thomas's tomato report.
So today we did a bunch of pruning on our tomatoes.
The reports are posted to Mom Leah's Facebook page.
Well, each one has about 300 views.
Who's amazed at just how popular they've become.
Thomas's tomato report should be required viewing. Thanks for being a bright light during a dark time, Thomas. I mean, those are pretty pretty constant.
My favorites are the breaking news ones.
Yeah.
As for the boys,
This is a breaking news tomato report.
they clearly enjoy sharing what they've grown
Look at this.
and also what they know.
And every year we learn a little more about tomatoes.
The reports have become such a hit, they have no intention to stop.
We'll probably continue them until we don't have any other tomatoes. Yeah.
Thank you, Lauren. I wonder if those boys will grow up to be farmers. If they're lucky, they'll end up like Lee Jones. He's growing fresh veggies right along Lake Erie. Our Jean-Marie Papoy put together this special Making It report all about Jones's business, the Chef's Garden. Take a look.
You know, of course, there are days that we get discouraged and days where we'd like to have a rain when we don't get it. Farmers are eternal optimists. The most famous saying that a farmer says is, "We're going to get them next year." Hi, I'm Farmer Lee Jones from the Chef's Garden. It's a family-owned business right along the shores of Lake Erie in Huron, Ohio. Our family has been farming here for over 50 years. I had the privilege of getting to work with my father from the time I was 5 or 6 years old on. I knew that I wanted to work with my dad in growing vegetables. This is a vegetable growing community. It's in our DNA. It's what we do. It's what we love. I just can't think of doing anything else. We've hung on like some of the other small farms here, and it's been a bumpy ride. And certainly March and the COVID pandemic has certainly created some interesting developments for all of us. It's a tough one. 100% of our business has been direct to restaurants over the last 35 years. As you know, the restaurants have been in trouble. Many of them closed. And we hurt and feel for all of those workers and servers and chefs and owners. There's been a ripple down effect to us and our team here on the farm as well. We felt like there was a real need to be able to reach out to people that were afraid to get to a grocery store or couldn't because of the pandemic. And so we offered a nationwide home delivery program. Early on in March, we pivoted. We felt there was a real demand for people to have safe, healthy vegetables delivered at home.
Hey guys, my name is Sarah Birchfield and I am the home delivery manager here at our family farm, the Chef's Garden. This is actually my favorite box because we are a seasonal farm. So we take our cues from nature on the availability that's going to be in the box. So currently we do have lettuce, toy box tomatoes, bell peppers, our mixed carrots, baby cauliflower, and one of my favorite, arrowhead cabbage.
But the home delivery, it did start off by us sending them out to our chefs because those are our friends and extended family to us, and told them that we were starting this program, and they shared that information with their customers and with their friends, and it really kind of took off.
This past summer, we've had a great time changing the boxes, coming up with new ideas, working with chefs all over the world to collaborate with them as well and have some specialty boxes.
I think it's that kind of explorative, creative thought process that helps us to be able to keep going at a difficult time. As horrible as this whole situation is, we've got to look for those silver linings in it. And eating at home and cooking together and being able to sit down together at a table, I think there's a lot of benefits to that. We've never done this for the money. We love growing good vegetables. You know, if you help enough other folks around, good things will come for you. And that's just sort of a philosophy we've always lived by. And I just think we carry that on our heart and on our sleeve every day on the farm.
Thanks, Jean-Marie. Why don't we stick with the nature theme and see what kind of animal story Newscat's pot up for us this week? It's time for Petting Zoo. Hey, Newscat. The bird watching can wait, okay? It's time for the news. Ah, that's better. Okay, I see she's found a snake whose hunger got him in some trouble. Looks like he swallowed an entire blanket? That must have been a mistake. We'll find out how the snake was helped back to health by clicking the Petting Zoo button on our website. Thank you, Newscat. Well, last but certainly not least, this week's NewsDepth A+ to hand out. Our A+ award this week goes to the entire 6th grade class at Sherwood Elementary School in Anderson Township. Congrats. They made an uplifting video that included each student sharing a word that's helping them get through this challenging year. Teacher Mary Beth Sharkey said she'd never seen a year like this one with all of the masks, social distancing, constant cleaning, and no sharing of materials or group work. She went on to say, what we did notice in our 6th graders was an increase in anxiety. We wanted to find a way to give our students a voice and some power. Teacher Ben Urso came up with the One Word Project. Each student focused on a word that helps them get through this challenging year. Then they drew that word and physically demonstrated that word for their picture. They chose great words like relax, breathe, cherish, and unique. All the words actually were great. Normally, the students would take a picture together in a group shot, but this year, because it's so strange, teachers and students are trying to socially distance. A picture was taken of each student with their word, one at a time, and then the video was edited together. Teacher Mary Beth said it was such a positive experience, and she said it was really great to see all the new students without their masks so you could really and finally see their faces. We're proud to award this week's A+ to Sherwood Elementary's 6th grade class. We know it's been a trying year, and we commend you for getting through it and sharing some positivity with your families and community with your One Word Project video. Okay, we've reached the end of this week's show. That should be my word, end. But don't let that spoil the fun. We want to hear from you, and there are plenty of ways to stay in touch. You can write to us. Our address hasn't changed. 1375 Euclid Avenue, Cleveland, Ohio, 44115. You can email us at newsdepth@ideastream.org, or you can tweet us. Our handle is @NewsDepthOhio. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Rick Jackson. We'll see you right back here next week.
NewsDepth is made possible by a grant from the Martha Holden Jennings Foundation.